city finance infrastructure is not working. We are working on that today, but it means significantly more work. We have not invested in the city's financial infrastructure and in the finance department for decades. I would say that Mayor Franklin had the sewers when she came in 2002. I will inherit a finance system that is broken. And so it has to be fundamentally repaired. And I would ask our public sector and our private sector to work together. One of the ideas that has been brought forth as I listened across the city over these last many months is to have an advisory council from the private sector, which would help us with ideas on how to repair the finance infrastructure in the city. So let me give you an example. Our health care benefits and our pension benefits, let me start with pension. We today have a defined benefit plan. Many of the companies in the city and across the country have moved from defined benefit to defined contribution. They did it 10 years ago. So we are sure that some of their experiences can be leveraged for the city. That's just one idea, because that's a very large expense on a go-forward basis. So I would start with the city's finances. Next question.
Can we get an answer on that tax question right now? Everybody's going to ask it. Will you raise them? Do you have to raise them?
We don't know yet. We cannot take any of the tools off the table, but what I will tell you is I would do that last. We must vet every single idea to make sure that we have done everything we can possibly do and leverage every single resource before we raise property taxes. Folks are hurting in the city. They're hurting all over the country. So the last thing we'd want to do is ask for more money. I think we need to make the case for that if we have to ask for more money. You need to remember, all of us, for every dollar that's collected inside the city of Atlanta, the city gets 23 cents on the dollar. We also have 500,000 or 520,000 residents supporting 2.5 million residents who come into the city every day. So we've got to think through this and work through this. And I won't take it off the table. You should never take any resource off the table. But my commitment is to leverage every single option before a tax increase is proposed.
Public safety concerns.
Okay, hold on. Let me get one from another outlet before. Yes, ma'am.
All of the Atlanta mayor candidates will be attending newspapers live this evening to discuss their campaigns.
I have 3 other commitments that I need to make, so if they are still there once I finish all of those commitments, then I will stop by again. Other questions? Okay, well, I'll come back to you, sir.
The public safety concerns, fire, police, huge concern. How do we handle the furloughs? How do we handle making sure that folks can receive fire service, make sure that their property and their life are served and saved?
The question was, what do we do about public safety and the furloughs for police and fire, the sworn personnel? What I would tell you that for me personally, you start with finance, because if your money isn't right, nothing is right. The furloughs are being driven by the inadequate resources that we have on the table. So here's what I would tell you. When you have short resources, you have to prioritize. If you look at the charter of the city of Atlanta, it tells you that public safety is a fundamental requirement that we deliver that service to the citizens. So it should be the first thing that we look at and that we fully fund for our sworn personnel for police and fire. Does that mean we do not think about the court system or corrections? No. But what I would tell you is if you have a two-member family household with 2 incomes and one person loses their job, you have to adjust because the income in your household is less. The same is true in the city. We have lost some of our tax revenue and some of our sales revenue based on what's going on in the economy. So we have to prioritize. So for me, public safety will be the #1 priority, which means no matter how much money or how little money you get, the first line of defense is public safety. So those dollars should be fully committed for that service first, for sworn personnel, for police and fire. So that should be taken completely off the table. Furloughs. Other questions? Yes, sir.
A lot of talk up the hill there about Atlanta has to give up the airport.
That's an interesting concept. You know, every time other folks run out of money, they come looking for the airport. let me just say, the airport is a federally regulated entity and enterprise. It is the largest and busiest in the world. It is the economic engine for the southeastern part of the United States. It is run extremely well. The state cannot take over the airport. It's against the law. Perhaps some of our fellow legislators on the Hill don't understand that because they've never run an airport. They don't have the expertise to run an airport. But what I would tell you is that perhaps finance should be the #1 item on their agenda as well, as opposed to reaching in a pot and saying we can take money from some enterprise that doesn't belong to them. My suggestion would be, or my statement would be, we don't take money out of the airport in the city of Atlanta. What happens at the airport stays at the airport. Federal regulations require it. So this notion that the state can take it or take money out of it is just incorrect. It's patently wrong. All right, thank you all for coming so much today. I'm